Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be talking about Magnification, Yes's 19th studio album coming out in 2001. This is probably one of my favorite albums of all time, let alone of just Yes albums, but of all time. This video, yes, is a review, but I really wanted to talk about this album to really spread awareness about it, to talk about it, to have Yes fans and non-Yes fans alike really listen to it. And if you haven't listened to it before, please give it a listen after you watch this video. Before I get into the analysis, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the Yes Fan Club on Facebook. You guys are absolutely amazing. The support you guys have given me is absolutely fantastic, and I really, really appreciate it. If you all could subscribe, I'm getting so close to 100, I'd really, really appreciate it. A little background on the album before we get into talking about the music itself. As I said before, this is Yes's 19th studio album with the band makeup of John Anderson, Chris Squire, Steve Howe, and Alan White. If you noticed, I did not name any one of their keyboardists. It's because there isn't one on this album. The little draw to this album, and what makes it a little bit different, is the fact that they have the San Diego Symphony Orchestra backing them up through the whole album, which is really amazing. The first time they have had orchestration in their music since 1970 with Time and a Word. This is also the last album with John Anderson, which is sad because I absolutely love him and his music, but I couldn't think of a better way for him to have a last album than this, one of my favorite albums of all time. Alright, so I will not be talking about every single track because I really want to hit on 4 specific ones that are some of my favorites of all time. So if your favorite track ever is Spirit of Survival, I'm sorry, I will not be talking about it today, but I do like it. Starting off with the title track, Magnification. This opens the album so well and gives you a hint as to what you're going to expect throughout the rest of the album. I really wanted to touch on the tonal shift of this song at the very beginning versus like the shift portion, the B shift, to the more rock part of it. Starts off with a nice orchestration and something that you haven't really heard from Yes before, which is interesting. I love the way these guys develop. There's always something new. You never really know what you're going to expect, but you know you're probably going to like it. So I love that tonal shift from more of a low-key chiller section to that great rock portion. It's absolutely amazing. There's a great balance between the orchestrals and the main 4 of the band, which I think is really masterfully done. It's really hard to throw in I guess you could call it a gimmick like orchestration and make it flow so perfectly and not feel like it's overdone, like someone said, oh, I'm going to throw some violins in because I like violin, and then there's so much violin. But no, they did this really, really well. So yeah, that's really much all I have to say about that, is just how great of an opening it was. Great, great track. Give Love Each Day. This, I would have to say, as of right now, probably my favorite Yes track. It always changes because of what I'm listening to, but as of right now, my favorite Yes track. I don't listen to this song very often because the first time I listened to it, I got goosebumps almost immediately with an amazing opening section of just orchestration, great strings and woodwind section that kind of like play off of each other, and you're not really sure what to expect until it hits you with their opening motif, and holy crap, goosebumps. I teared up through this entire song. So the reason I don't listen to it very often is because I want to keep that magic. I don't want to do what I do with many songs, Yes and non-Yes songs included, where I find a new song, I listen to it on repeat for a day and a half, and then I get tired of it. I never want that to happen to the song, so I listen to it sparingly. The vocals, what I will compliment in this that I remember very clearly is how the vocals and the orchestra complement each other so well. The way that the melodies are pushed forward through the intertwining of each part. Holy crap. I'm thinking about it, just gives me, I have goosebumps right now. You probably won't be able to see it, but God, I have goosebumps. This track is, it really, I don't want to be cliche and be like, it changed me, but it made me really think about things. I don't even know what I'm saying. I really, really love this track. So please give it a listen. I really, that's what this whole video is about, is please just listen to this album. It really deserves more love than it has gotten. Through my research, I've found that this is actually the worst selling Yes album of all time. And that is a shame. That really, really saddens me. Can you imagine? I think this piece is particularly interesting out of these 4 because this came from a demo from 1981 from the supergroup XYZ that never came to fruition. If you don't know what XYZ is, it stands for X, Yes, and Zeppelin. So after John Bonham sadly passed and Zeppelin broke up, Chris Squire, Alan White, and Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin formed a group called XYZ, and they did have a demo that they've recorded a couple demos at one recording session in 1981 that never ever came to fruition. Nothing ever came of this group, and so all of those songs kind of disappeared, except for this one. This one actually kind of came back to fruition with Squire on lead vocals, which I think is really, really important. I can't, off the top of my head, think of any other Yes track led by Chris Squire in that way on vocals. So if there is one that I'm not thinking of, please let me know, or of any that just doesn't have John Anderson on lead vocals with him in it, which is probably a lot easier now that I just say that, but especially with Chris Squire's lead vocals. I thought that was absolutely amazing. It's a powerful, short and sweet track. They really make the most of the orchestra behind it. It's a powerful message. Really, really sublime song. They really pulled out all the stops for this one, and I don't know if it was because they were thinking of it as a last hurrah, or if this is just an amazing fruition of their talent, which I think it maybe is probably the latter, actually. And then finally, in the presence of the second to last track with, I forget what the name of the very last track is, Time is Time. Just kind of a nice little short sleeve playoff, but this is really the big magnum opus of this album. To me, I think this track should be revered up there with Gates of Delirium and Awaken. This is a powerful, powerful track. And is kind of accessible to people that maybe aren't usually into Yes, which is strange to say. The only reason I say that is because I played it and I was blasting it in my basement one day. And my mom came downstairs and was like, "What is that song? I really like it." And I was like, "You never like any of the music I play. What is going on?" So that's my little anecdotal evidence, maybe not proven, but just my little tidbit. This track really calls back to older tracks. It really is a kind of an homage while taking all of the things that they have learned throughout time and culminating it into a track like this. With the added power of an orchestra that they really, really, really use masterfully. It's not overdone. I really want to stress that. The orchestration isn't overdone, but it's added to accentuate the beautiful melodies put forth by the vocals, guitar, and the bass. The build section at the end is particularly really, really beautiful, the way that it's really able to show off how they can really write, not only for just a band, but even for an orchestra. So in total, I really, really think that this should be known as one of their best modern works, if not their very best. I would say the latter is probably a close second album for me, but this really, really is, bar none, probably one of their best. If not one of their best of all time. Obviously, it can't compete with a lot of the other classics, but I think it is amazing. Their masterful musicianship, really, that they accrued throughout their songwriting years, this being, God, I don't know what, 30 plus years after they started writing music for the first time altogether. It's really shown in full force, and I really just wanted to share my love of this album with you guys, so please be sure to check this album out if you haven't. It's hard to find unless you have either the vinyls, which are even harder to get, or a CD, which luckily I was able to find. It is on YouTube. It's kind of hard to find, though. So I really wanted to share my love with this album with you guys. So thank you so much for watching this. Please be sure to subscribe, and I appreciate all you guys have been doing for me. And I'll talk to you later.